Hey, what's up, rock stars? It's Rox coming to you today with a review for Don't You Wanna Go to the Place to Be where strangers become family over fried chicken and mac and cheese, a 3 old ladies' recipes. Won't you and the family come and hang with Kandi and the Gang? Season 1, episode 5 or 6. So let's get to it, shall we? All right, you guys, the show is really cute. It's just a cute little show. Every time I watch it, I smile the whole time. You know, it opens random moments. The Detroit Grannies. What is this? I was as perplexed as everybody else on the damn scene, on the screen, you know, when they came in. First, I was like, that can't be her real ass. And then, of course, I realized that it wasn't, and that these were women who dress up as old ladies, but they twerk in the location. I couldn't. Poor Aunt Nora was like, what is going on? I was like, nobody knows. But, you know, we all sit and watch them. I mean, I guess I was just a little, you know, just hard for the chorus at OLG. Anyways, you guys, we see our favorite hostess, Shandricka. She is talking to Torrin. Torrin comes in and he has on a pair of shades. Turns out that Shandricka has a shades business, too. So he has some shades from her company, you know, she's checking them out and everything. And then even though it might be kind of busy in the restaurant, Shandricka is still trying to play inch eye private eye to find out who the hell told on her and said what she said to Kandi and Todd about not giving a fuck about the restaurant. So she take her own little break and they go outside and she's telling him how Kandi and Todd told her, you know, that somebody told them that. Well, they didn't say who told her that, told them that, but they knew that she had said that she didn't give a fuck. So, you know, he was like, well, who could it be? And she was just like, well, the culprits, you know, the suspects would have been Patrick, Melvin, Shardo. She's still trying to see. I said, girl, it ain't none of them. It's you. So she, you know, she running down the list of people who it could be. She still don't know. And then speaking of Patrick, we see Kandi walking with Patrick down the street. You know, he's about to show her his place. You know, he was like, I am so happy. This is like super perfect, living right behind the restaurant. You know, he ain't got to do too much to get to work and it's just perfect for him. So, you know, when they go inside, you know, Kandi was just like, oh, look at this. My goodness, this is cute. And so he's showing her all around. Kandi reminds us that she has special love for these two. These are her cousins, but they're really like her kids, okay? Patrick was named after her brother. You guys know she had an older brother who died some years ago. And the family had named him after her brother. She said he looks just like him, which I can totally believe because Patrick and Kandi look just alike. Actually, you guys told me that Patrick looks like Ace. And I was like, yeah, he does look like Ace. But like I said, they all kind of look alike. And then Melvin is like her son for real because he actually lived with her. So she kind of raised him. And so, you know, she has a special place in her heart for these two. So Patrick is showing them around. It really seems like it's more like Patrick's place and Melvin just lives there as well. But, you know, he shows her his wellness area. This is where he goes and he, I guess, lines his chakras up and does a little yoga and a little meditation. She was just like, when did you start doing meditation? He said, since I got with Safari. You know, Safari has changed him, made him a better man. And Kandi was just like, she has changed your everything. Then she was like, well, where's the bedroom? And he was like, oh, where we do the nasty things. And she was like, I mean, I guess. So they go downstairs, you know, Kandi, because she is the, you know, she has the sex dungeon and whatnot. So I guess she would be interested in all of his sex toys and the things that he has there. So only Kandi and her family could talk about this kind of stuff. And, you know, a general showing them around their damn new apartment. Since we got this new apartment, are you going to have a housewarming party? And he was like, well, you know what? I wanted to have one, but Safari was just like, no, she didn't want to have one because she didn't want all them people in my place, namely Shandricka. And Kandi was just like, well, if I was Safari, I wouldn't want Shandricka in your place either. But I'm just saying, if you really want to have a housewarming, then you should have it. Don't let her, you know, change your mind and have you acting differently than you normally would. Don't lose yourself trying to make Safari happy. And he was like, you know what? You right, cousin. You right. We gonna have the damn housewarming. Forget Safari. I was like, now don't be up here talking like So later on, Safari comes to the house. And, Patrick is so happy to see her. He always tells us how much he loves his Safari. He says that she made him prove that he was the best man for her. Okay, so Safari comes in, and you know what? Since she's the one that's decorating the place, she's going to decorate the meditation station that, he showed Kandi earlier. So she comes with a great big bean bag and a blanket, and maybe did she put a few little things up on the wall? And I was just like, that's your decorating, he throw it over there in the corner and plop down on it. And he was just like, you know what? I think Safari's decorating is better than Torrance. I was just like, okay, keep telling yourself that. I mean, you know what? Happy wife, happy life, right? So, I mean, listen, baby, thank you for getting this bean bag and putting it in this corner. He tells her how he was talking to Kandi. Kandi came by to see the place, and he was telling her about the housewarming, and Kandi was just like, well, you know what? You kind of acting out of character. You don't want Safari to get you to the point where you're not being yourself, so if you want to have the housewarming party, then you should have the housewarming party, and he was just like, so I'm having the housewarming party and you are going to support me. And she was just like, okay, all right. She only did that because Kandi was the one that said that he needed to have the housewarming party. Okay, Safari looked like she was not trying to go against Kandi or whatever, but I mean, like I said in another review, if you don't want Shandricka don't need to really be there, and Shandricka shouldn't want to come, because if you guys used to have relations or whatever, and now everybody's moved on, and then there's some sort of tension there, why would you even try to put yourself and your new boyfriend, through it? Well, he's not new. They've been together for some years now, but you know what I'm saying? It's just like, why go through all of that? So Shandricka shouldn't even want to come. So he tells her there's not going to be any surprises there. Don't worry about it. So, hopefully she won't have to deal with Shandricka. Now, you guys, jumping over to Kandi and Todd and Don and Philip. So Kandi and Todd go to the restaurant and they sit down with management. Okay, Don, this is upper management. Don and Philip. Don, we just gonna call this nigga the fucking Lord of the Ring. Nigga, what more do you do than sit around and watch what people is doing on this fucking ring? I have a feeling that Don sits there every day and goes through the ring footage just to see what the hell's going on. I mean, I guess if you're trying to make sure that your establishment is running smoothly, then I guess, but it's just like, every time you turn around, Don is on that damn ring. So there's a problem. We see Dom and Brandon in like the stock room or one of the back rooms fooling around. And so, they're like, yeah, this is not good, fraternizing, the employees fraternizing like this, especially when it's management and, an employee that's on the line. So, Kandi looked like she was not really like, well, we met on the job, talking to Todd. And Todd was like, yeah, and that wasn't right. That didn't mean it was right. But it was a little different because Todd worked in production and Kandi was one of the talent on the show. So, maybe it wasn't quite so inappropriate because he didn't have any say so over what she did. It's different when you have a manager that's going to be governing what, the employees are doing. So it's a little different there. But still, if Bravo wanted to make a big deal about it, they could have. So Todd is saying, we don't have to fire him. I'm not saying that he needs to be fired and everything, but we have a whole bunch of restaurants, so it might be a case of like maybe they might have to transfer Brandon. That's one thing ticked off the list. Then Don tells them how they need to talk about Brian's sobriety. Evidently, well, what's the manager's name? Is it Penny? Pebbles came and told Don that she was concerned about Brian because he had some wine at the restaurant. And, he's on this whole sobriety thing and he shouldn't be drinking. So they're going to have to talk to Brian about that as well. Okay. But the real reason I come to find out that they were all together is that we're about to have a meeting of sorts. So the OLG shows up, Mama Joyce, okay, Aunt Bertha, Aunt Nora, sits down with them, and after we get through the pleasantries, hey, Todd gets to telling them about, this is like a meeting to talk about how they can further the brand, maybe have some sauces, some spices, and selling merchandise, I guess edible merchandise within the restaurants, and maybe probably can venture out into stores eventually, but putting their namesake on that. So yeah, everybody is, thinking about the different things that they can sell as well. And then Todd says, and now I also wanted to talk to you guys about, some things that Mama Joyce had said. Okay. And Mama Joyce kind of had a little smirk on her face. Todd says that he is going to go on and invest in some non-slip shoes and go on and spend a day in the kitchen. Okay. But the catch is you guys have to be in the kitchen with him as well. All right. Hey, they all seem to work in the kitchen. Todd the only one that ain't fucking around with the kitchen. Mama Joyce was just like, I think that you have a better understanding if you come and work in the kitchen. That should be an interesting day. So that's on the calendar, you guys. But anyway, Don, he wants to talk to Brian. Brian is back at work, so he wants to talk to Brian about what he was telling Kandi and Todd about. So he has him come outside. So they sit down and, Brian has kind of got this look on his face like, what's going on? And Don said, I just want to make sure that I hold you accountable, and trying to help you out with your sobriety. And, Pebbles told me that the other day that you had wine. And Brian was looking at him like, yes, and what? And he was just like, but you shouldn't be drinking. He was just like, why did you have wine? He said, well, I had wine because I wanted some wine. Okay. Well, it seems that Brian's whole idea of sobriety, and I guess if you talk to anybody that was any type of addict, would tell you that this is not really the best, the logic behind trying to stay sober. But he thinks that wine is okay, and that his problem was with strong alcohol and drugs. He was popping pills, he was drinking, a gallon a day of vodka, and he's not doing that anymore, so he figures that he could have wine, and it would be okay. I don't think that that's really how it goes, because wine is still alcohol. Wine can still put you in. I mean, you drink up enough wine, you can be as fucked up as if you was drinking vodka. I'm just listening to him and I was just like, yeah, I don't know about that. So Don is telling him, I just don't want to be that person that wasn't checking up on you and trying to help you through things, and something bad happens and then I feel bad. And Brian's like, don't worry about him because, he feels like he's actually stronger. So his sister died. Remember, he told us that his sister committed suicide. Fairly recent to him being in the restaurant. So, and he said if he didn't, go jump off the wagon, then he's really good. He said, as a matter of fact, he felt like her death made him stronger because she was just like, all right, nigga, like you better get it together all the way. So he feels that he has gotten it together all the way. I really, really like Brian. Something about his whole spirit. I just hope that he can get that alcohol and all of that under control. He said that AA and the rehabs and things didn't work for him. And just when you listen to that, and you have heard enough people that have been through that same process say that they use those excuses as well. I just hope that, I hope that he knows what he's doing and hoping that it doesn't lead him back down the wrong road. Like I said at the beginning of the season, I feel like Brian is still somebody that we need to keep our eye on. Now, jumping back to Shandricka. Shandricka still trying to find out who the hell did this. Talking to Shardo and saying, okay, so she done boiled it down. Well, she figured out that it's not Shardo, it's not Melvin, it's not Patrick who told on her. It's not Marie, I think that's her name, the other girl that works in the restaurant. So like, who the hell can it be? So Shardo goes and tells Don, like, Shandricka's hounding everybody trying to find out who told her something, and is starting to get on everybody's nerves. So Don was just like, let me tell her something. Come on, Lord of the Ring. He was like, I'll handle it. So he was like, Shandricka, can I come talk? Can I talk to you? Come on outside with me for a minute, child. When I used to work at Jenny Craig back in the day, anytime the manager would tell you, come on, let's go for a walk, like she would walk you down and y'all go get some ice cream or something, that's when you knew you was about to get fired. We had saw so many people, whenever they would go on the infamous walk, then they wouldn't come back with the manager. So I was just like, she was like, oh my God, am I getting fired? He was like, no, just come on outside. It's just, too much going on in there. She's like, it's hot out there. He's like, I know, but come on outside. So he was like, Shardo told me that you have been asking all around trying to find out, who told Kandi and Todd what you said. And so she was just sort of like looking at him, and he was like, what if I told you that I was the one who said it? And she just still got this kind of look on her face. Well, come on, Lord of the Rings, pop out that phone, pull up the Ring camera footage. He lets her see the video of Brandon talking to her on the phone, you know, on the speakerphone. And she's, of course, going on and on and on. And she was like, oh, that was the day of the meeting. Yes, it was the day of the meeting. And so then she says, well, you know what? Everybody says it. Well, everybody is not stupid enough to get caught on tape, okay? She's the only one that got caught on tape, so you're the only one that we really talking about right now. So then when she was in her confessional, she's like, I done did all this research, and then I'm the snitch. You the one, like I've been trying to tell you all this time. Now, the day that we all gonna work in the restaurant, you know, we got Kandi and Todd there, we got Don there, we got Brandon, we got Philip, okay, and the OLG, they're going to also help out, okay? So they show up in their cute little red shirts that say the OLG gang, the OLG on there, and you know, they were like, oh, look at you guys, y'all look so cute, whatever. It's so funny to see the three of them. They like all the same height, and you know, they move the same, maybe some of them a little slower than others, but they come on in. You know, Don was like, here, put these hair nets on, you know, we can't have you guys with your hair, you know, loose in the kitchen or whatever. But you guys know what was the funniest fucking part of it. And when that damn unknown hand just came like up and started patting Aunt Bertha on the back, and Aunt Bertha must have turned around and looked. I said, uh-oh. She was just like, boy, you like to almost get slapped. Child, they was so tickled. Aunt Dora was like, all of them got that same laugh. But child, that damn Aunt Bertha was just like, don't be touching all on her person. Now, if you're young and you got some money, you can touch all of this, all around this. But you got no money, no feel. Okay, honey, Aunt Bertha said, you're going to have to pay to play on this playground, honey. She was not, but they was cracking up, and she just looked at him like, what the fuck is that? Who is this tapping me like this? Nora was like, I had my laugh for today. Anyways, now that everybody is there, you know, they tell them that, okay, you guys gonna be working in the kitchen. Melvin runs the kitchen. So whatever Melvin tells you guys to do, we gonna think that that's what you are going to do. Kandi know how hard Melvin worked. If it wasn't for Kandi, he would fire Melvin, but he knows that Kandi would pitch a bitch fit if he fired Melvin. And then Aunt Bertha, oh, and he'd whoop his ass. Child, they are the funniest peanut gallery out there, I promise you. And so they all go into the kitchen, and long story short, you know, the kitchen is a lot of work. It's probably the most work in the damn restaurant, making sure that you get the food out there. So, you know, they put Todd on whatever he got to do with the eggs or whatever. But, you know, as the time picks up and it gets busy and people got their orders in, you know, people are trying to scramble to get the orders out. Don brings some food back because it's cold. Todd said he had been put the food out there. You got to remember the runners. You got to have the timers. You got to make sure that, you know, all of this is running smooth. So yes, the kitchen is a lot of work. And Todd does realize that. That's why the nigga ain't wanted to go in there in the first place. But Todd is saying that the reason why shit don't run smooth is because they don't have a system. Okay, even if they don't have a system, then that's why you need to be there so you can help establish a system. If you know a better way to do it, then do it. Okay? Don't think that you just put people in there and they supposed to come up with their shit on their own. If they don't, then they need you to be there. That's the point that we trying to make. So after they finally finish their shift in the kitchen, and the producers asked Kandi and Todd, you know, do they have respect for the kitchen staff? And Kandi was just like, I always had respect for the kitchen staff. Okay? It's Todd. Todd says, you know what? Yeah, it's a lot of work in that kitchen and he don't want to go back in there again. So I guess Todd still ain't feeling like he needs to go in there and pick up the pieces. Now, another random scene, but that shit was funny, was when Kandi takes Joyce to Safari's place. As you guys know that Safari's, I guess, is like an esthetician. So she does like different treatments. She has her own business. So Kandi was just like, you know, my mom is always bragging about how she is 72 years old and she ain't never had any work done. So she brought her to Safari's place so she can get a little procedure here and there. Okay. So, and this is like non-invasive, no cutting, things like that. So they bring her in there and Kandi was just like, okay, Mom, so I brought you here because, you know, Safari is going to do like a butt lift for you. And Mama Joyce was just like, what? That's why you brought me in That's why I'm here. First of all, Mama Joyce looks good. Mama Joyce has a nice body. She still looks very firm and everything. I got more cellulite than Mama Joyce does. Okay, but we've seen pictures of her when she was younger. You could tell she had a nice body even back then. But I was like, okay, Mama Joyce, honey. I guess Mama Joyce was like, baby, even if I'm 72, if y'all want to see me show my ass on here, then I will do that. Okay, literally. So, honey, she went and put the little throwaway thong panties on. Because so far as like, I would guess you don't have on any thongs. No, I don't. Okay, so here, put these on. And she come out and she lay down and Kandi was like, well, look at your thighs, mama. These thighs is tight. And then when they lifted up her thing and they showed her butt, I was like, okay, Mama Joyce, you got, girl. I didn't know if I was most shocked that she was showing her ass or if her ass, and all that all looked very, very good. So this procedure is put these things, it look like suctions and they look like they just kind of lift your butt up. I guess pull it up so it doesn't last. But I guess if you had like a function you were going to that night and you wanted to make sure that your butt sat out pretty good, that you would get this kind of procedure right before you went out. So while they got Mama Joyce over there on the table, Kandi is sitting down and talking with Safari, and Kandi brings up the housewarming party that Patrick was having. And Safari was just like, well, I'm okay with him having the housewarming party. It's just some people, at the restaurant, like, I don't want them to be there. Some people like who? Well, some people like Shandricka. But he can have the party. He just needs to be respectful of her wishes. Again, don't invite. We cutting out a whole party because of one person. Back at the restaurant. Now's the time that Don and Philip are going to have this conversation with Brandon. The Lord of the Rings, honey. He pulls out the beautiful bean footage and he shows Brandon the video of Dom and him in the back room. So they were like, are you in a whole relationship with Dom right now? And Brandon was like, yeah, I mean, they do hang out outside of the restaurant. Well, inside of the restaurant too, obviously. So Philip starts telling him how this is a conflict of interest. And then Philip turned on his for real corporate hat and kind of went hard on old Brandon and was saying like, you are the problem here. You're supposed to be part of the management. And, that's why Dom is doing what she wants to do. You're not keeping. So all of this that he said about about Brandon, I mean, it seemed like Philip was okay with the way that Brandon was running things. But now that he's in this meeting, he kind of went hard on old Brandon, and Brandon even felt like he had went hard on him. So Philip was like, there was a time where, we discussed maybe sending you on to Blaze, and at that time we couldn't do it, but maybe now at this time we can. Okay, giving them an option like, okay, because really you could actually get fired for doing something like this. I guess it would depend on your employee paperwork and what you had signed and all of that. But so he's telling them that maybe he can go to Blaze. But Brandon doesn't want to go to Blaze. So Brandon says that well, you know what him and Dom will do is they just won't have any contact with each other at the restaurant. And they were like, yeah, that's we can't do that. So Brandon is a little, he's a little confused because he didn't feel like he was that bad. Okay. But they tell him like, yeah, you might have to be transferring. So Brandon leaves there and he goes to Dom. Dom is at rehearsal, I'm going to be dancing in London with Ricky Ross. I can't believe it. She is so excited. Okay, so she's there and she's having a rehearsal, and then all of a sudden Brandon just walks in the room. And so she kind of looks over at him like, what are you doing here? She's still trying to do the rehearsal or whatever, and they're still dancing a little bit, but he's still just standing there. Obviously, he wants to talk to Dom. So the choreographer is like, okay, let's take a 5-minute break, so Dom can go handle her man. She goes with Brandon. They go outside, and she was just like, why are you here? Wait, first of all, oh my God, thank you. Hey. Okay, but why are you here? What do you want? He was just like, so I was talking to Philip and Don, and they showed me the video of you and I like in the back room messing around. And she thought the shit was funny. She was just like, oh my God, like, oh, they didn't saw what we was doing. Okay, like, what was we doing? Like, what did they catch? Well, they only showed us them kissing and hugging. But he was just like, yeah, but Kandi and Todd also saw the video, so it's a problem. So now she's just like, oh, so what does that mean? He says, well, we were talking and they were saying that, maybe you could transfer to Blaze or I could transfer to Blaze, and she was like, I'm not going to Blaze. It's too far, period. Okay. And he was just like, yeah, I know. I was like, they never said, Brandon, that she would transfer. It's on you. Either you go in the blaze or you going to have to leave. Okay. They can't move her because she is the subordinate. So the manager is the one who's taking advantage of his power. So they're going to have to move you. But he was just like, you know, is this really important? This relationship that important to you where, you know, you just kind of ready to do, you know, like sacrifice maybe? Well, she's about to leave for a month. So that's going to give him a little bit of some time. But really, if this was a real HR situation, they wouldn't care if she was leaving in a month. The fact that they already know that these two have been messing around, you know, it would be a transfer or it would be a fire, I would imagine. But he was saying, okay, we can just conduct ourselves, you know, like adults and not be doing anything in the restaurant. But it's not going to work. It's not going to work because everybody knows that they're seeing each other, and any little thing that happens around there, people are going to say that Dom is getting favored because of the relationship, even if that's not the case. And that means that that's a liability for Kandi and Todd, for the management there, like everybody. So yeah, Brandon, honey, you can come up with all of these scenarios and fixes that you want, but baby, you're gonna have to leave. All right, you guys, let me get off of here. Make sure that you rate, comment, and subscribe to the channel. I'm itsrox. The channel is itsrox. Everything else I do will be in the bottom bar. All right. So I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day, and I plan on doing the same. Till next time, rock stars. Bye.